everybody, and welcome to my open studio. My name is Gideon. I'm also known as Gideon's Light, and I have decided to create this open studio this afternoon to complement my new release online workshop entitled the Buddha Workshop. So I'm just going to give everybody a few minutes to see that I'm live and to join me here in my studio, as I am ready to share with you how to create interesting underpaintings or first layers for your Buddha paintings, and hopefully you'll be able to use some of these ideas and techniques in any of your future art. Hi Maisha, so nice to have a guest here already. So lovely to see you. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you who will be joining me for the replay, I am recording this session for you guys, so it will be available in our beautiful group afterwards. And I will also be adding this to the content of the workshop that is available right now. So if you guys have been hearing about my latest online course, or maybe you're hearing about it now for the first time, there is something very special happening in our Creative Heart group. I have created this workshop for us, and because you guys are my tribe and you are my family, I always like to share from my heart authentically with you guys first, because you are my tribe, you are my family. I like to just give something away and just share some of my experience and knowledge with you guys. Because there is nothing that gives me as much joy as it is to see other creative hearts activated and empowered and inspired and at the canvas creating beautiful art, right? Let's see who else has joined us. I see we've got two guests. Oh, absolutely, Maisha. Grab your paints and grab your canvas. You guys are more than welcome to paint along with me, but this is going to be just a demonstration workshop. So, like I said, it will be available for replay afterwards, and it will also go into the actual workshop. So, if you are inspired, you can always revisit this material and make use of it. Hi Bettina, so welcome. So nice to have you guys in the show with me today. So let me just gather my thoughts. I was busy telling you about my latest online course. If you're part of this group and you go to the top part of our group, you will see that I've posted in the announcement section of this group a link to my Buddha painting workshop, which is only half price for my family and friends here in the Creative Heart. So for the month of September, starting on the 1st of September, running all the way to the 30th of September, this course will be available to you guys at 50% less, which is 450 Rand. That is around $30 US, just to give you an idea. And then you will have a lifetime access to this self-paced online workshop. I will be painting with you and showing you step by step how I've created the Buddha that you've probably seen on our group by now. Hello Karen, my best friend. Always lovely to have you in my audience. It just gives me such support and love. And I'm so excited to share with you guys. So let's jump right in, because we've got a lot to cover. I did go into my archive a little bit because I wanted to show you guys how long I have been painting Buddha paintings, and I didn't even gather everything that I have in my home, but I did want to bring out some key pieces that will illustrate to you exactly what I'm talking about. Hi April, so nice to see you guys here. Okay. So this painting, which has been claimed by my husband since the day that he saw this for the first time, I painted this in 2004. I think this was one of my first Buddha paintings, and it was also one of those paintings that really changed me. It unlocked something in my heart and in my being, and it hangs on my wall as a proud moment of perseverance and trying something new and allowing the artist within to come out. Now, I am a self-taught artist. Besides the few art classes that I've done in school and training that I've done with Whitney Freya, rest of it really is all up to me and spending a lot of time in my studio, because I recognized as I was evolving and changing as a person that creating art is actually a personal value of mine, and it might be one of yours as well. And what that means is, if I don't create art on a daily basis, if I don't spend time with paint and brush and being creative at least for 5 minutes a day, I go a little bit wookie. So that's where I lose context a bit, and I get depressed, and I can get very narrow-minded and rigid in my thinking and in my behavior. So art therapy and art has really been my lifesaver, and also it has brought me out. I'm actually more of an introvert by nature, believe it or not, but I do understand that when you stand in your power, that you are able to change aspects of your personality that you maybe once thought wasn't possible. So when I started out as a creatively fit coach, believe you me, my very first live in front of an audience was horrendous. So I've come a long way in the last 5 years that I've been practicing and working at my craft, and also in sharing with my audience. I think one of the positive things that COVID-19 has brought into our lives is that we started to connect more with each other with the technology that is available to us. So this has really become a worldwide community. So many of my tribe members are sitting in the US, in Canada, in Europe, and even in Australia. So without this technology, I would not be able to share with you guys. So there's a lot to be grateful for in that as well. So if you guys are joining me now, please feel free to type some questions or comments, compliments, or just say hello. Tell us where you are from in the comment section, because that is always available to all of us. I see we've got 5 beautiful members that has joined us. I'm so excited to share with you guys. And then I will check in with you guys afterwards. And if there was any questions that I've missed during this live, then I will answer you personally. All right. So I'm just going to bring this a little bit forward, because as the theme for today is creating interesting underpaintings, I'm just going to try and let me just put my bright light off just for a second so that you guys don't have that glare. And I want you to look beyond the Buddha features and look at the background of this painting. You can see I used a lot of beautiful decoupage paper. There's lots of texture. There is drips of paint. There is smears. There's some gold leaf. There's some gold polish that I've used. There's a little bit of glitter. There's even a little bit of a diamante that I've added to the third eye of my Buddha. And coming back up into the piece, you can see all the beautiful textures and paints that I've used to create a beautiful background. Now zooming out again, you guys can now see how I've used just my paints gray and black to create the features of my Buddha face, really focusing in on the nose, one part of the nostril, one part of the mouth down here, and then just barely suggesting an ear on the right hand side. So this already shows you that there's no right or wrong exactly in how you can go about creating your Buddha painting for your meditation space. I do like this particular composition because it is less challenging to those who have never done this before. To divide a face in half and really just to focus on one aspect of it becomes much easier, because you don't have to do everything in perfect balance and symmetry and proportion, which can be quite intimidating if you've never painted faces before. So in doing this, it really allows you a lot of space as well on the face to be creative with and to play with, and really just to bring in the suggestion lines of the eyelids and the nose, and the brain completes the rest of the picture. This is why this is so successful as a Buddha painting, and a definite good place to start if you have never painted a Buddha face before. Let me put my light back on. Moving on, I've got a smaller one here on a square canvas that I've painted recently, and I also wanted to bring this up close to you so you guys can see, because there's a lot of dark colors I've used, all the beautiful textures and interesting patterns that I've used in the background in the first layers before I brought in the dimensions of the actual Buddha face. Now this is a full Buddha face, so but again, using the contour lines on the outside, the placement of the eye and the nose, and then the lips is really, once you know where they are positioned, and you have a fair sense of proportion and balance, you can continue to work on this until you have what you need. So that is another example for you guys. So let me quickly check in with you guys. Hi everybody, just give us a wave, tell us where you're from. Thank you for spending time with us. This session is being recorded, so there will be a replay afterwards. Right. Now this is an old canvas of mine that I've prepped for this workshop. And we're diving right into what do I use to guide myself when I create my paintings. And I think one of the very, very most important things that we must always keep in mind is the 8 principles of design. Now, I do mention this in the workshop, and I do try to reference any of these design principles that I use as I go through the workshop. But when you understand them and you note them, then it will be easy to recognize them going forward. And I always say it doesn't matter if you make a greeting card or if you're painting a large canvas, whether you are just drawing in pencil or whether you are painting in acrylic paints like myself. These principles of design is used in art universally. Doesn't matter what medium you work in. So these 8 principles are as follow. The very first one that I love a lot is contrast. Now contrast helps us to really see the light and the dark, and also the vibration of contrasting colors right next to each other. Using contrast is one of my main tools in design that I use successfully, because that is what I personally love to use. Other people might like things more on a monochromatic scale, and that's absolutely perfectly good for them. So there's no right or wrong. It's really up to you as an artist and how you want to use this. The second design principle is that of harmony. I think a lot of young artists aren't aware of this, or they might not know exactly what their painting is lacking, because they keep introducing new elements. So it's fun to play, it's fun to throw paint at the canvas, but at some stage you want to bring things together to begin to tell a story. So harmonizing your canvas is really important. And one of the ways to do that is to choose your color palette carefully, and to always be aware that you are harmonizing your color scheme and your design principles on your canvas in order to ensure success of your painting. The next thing that I personally also like to do, to use, is the design principle of repetition. Now repetition here is a very good example. It's just repeating the same thing over and over and over until you have filled your canvas or your paper with a particular design element. And because you're repeating it, it really is illustrating to the viewer that this is meant to be. It's not an accident, and you can use that very interestingly by marrying it with the next design principle, which is called rhythm. And rhythm really is that movement that you create with your brush strokes. And if I think it's one of those things that you need to master by practicing it. But you get to a stage where you feel there's a certain rhythm that you are using on your canvas, and by continuing to repeat that, it also helps to harmonize and bring some of these elements together. The next design principle that you guys need to be very aware of, especially if you are going to be painting a Buddha face, is that of proportion. So be mindful of the size of your canvas and proportionately how you would place the face on that canvas. It's no point in having an expanse of a canvas and then painting a small little face like that on it, or drawing in some little corner over there. So really spend some time with your canvas or your paper that you will be working on, and recognize that scale and proportion is extremely important in order to communicate what you are trying to create to the viewer. The next design principle that is also important is that of emphasis. So what do you want the viewer to look at and spend time looking at the most? So even though we create very interesting first layers or underpaintings, that is not where my emphasis is going to be. So let me just grab my other painting again. If I remained or left everything quite busy, this was quite a busy canvas first layer, if I left it as it is, you wouldn't really notice the Buddha face. But because I emphasized using quite a dark exterior around the face and my shadows, it helped to bring emphasis that you are actually looking at the Buddha face. And then the viewer spends time by being pulled into all the intricate and interesting details that the canvas present to them. So emphasis is really that what you are trying to communicate and what you want the viewer to notice first. That's probably going to be the thing that's going to draw people into your painting to spend time looking at it. The next design principle is that of balance. Balance is very important, because if something is just a little bit skew or off center, it can work if you really worked on your proportion of your design. But be mindful of these things, especially if you're going to be painting a successful Buddha painting. And then the very last design principle is that of unity. And sometimes that is something that I use right at the end of my painting. If I see that there's something that's standing out too much, or there's something that isn't becoming part of the painting, maybe I need to cover it up, or I need to give everything a bit of a wash or a glaze of color to unify the whole painting as a whole. So these 8 principles of design is really the keys to any success with art. And because I'm a self-taught artist, I had to really find these things for myself. I wasn't aware that all of these things existed. And as I trained myself and struggled through one painting to get something right, to get the vision that I had in my head down on my canvas, a lot of mistakes was made. And through those mistakes, I've learned something. So one day when I discovered these 8 principles of design, it changed my life, because I recognized how I instinctively used these principles and how I can use them to solve problems on my painting as well. We all come to that stage of a painting where we feel stuck. The very important thing that I want to share with you is when you get to that stage where you feel stuck, is to just give yourself a bit of a break. I've created the grand Buddha painting that this course is all about over a period of a month. So there was lots of times in between where I didn't have time to paint, or I felt I needed to just give it some time to breathe, so that as soon as I had clarity and I knew exactly what I wanted to do to move ahead, that's when I would engage with it. So don't force yourself to complete your painting in one day, unless that is your goal, of course. Hello everybody, just for those